Hello, everyone, if you're here. Let me see where you guys are. If you're here, let's see. It does say we're live. Let me make sure a picture is coming through. It says we have an excellent connection, and there are people in the chat room. And I apologize. I started the broadcast a couple of minutes late here, um, which probably nobody cares about. Let's see if you guys can see me and hear me. Let's see. Somebody. Okay, Jojo says I'm live. Nurse Jojo's in the room. Well, congratulations, Jojo, on being live. Good, good job. Can anyone hear me? Is my question. As you can see, I'm gonna lie down throughout this broadcast. I might sit up for a little while. I have a broken paw, so we see you. And okay, good. We see you. Does anybody hear me? This is what's going on with my leg right now. And we'll I have a broken foot. I just want to know if someone can hear me. That's all I care about in my life in general. I never feel heard. So it's that's right. It's Hanukkah tonight at sundown. Technically, is when it starts. So we'll be celebrating. Okay, can anybody hear me? Hold on, producer Jojo, can you hear me? Okay, they hear. Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourself. Good. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm glad someone can not only hear me but is also listening to me. So this is a good time. This is more spilling kofefe than anything else. But if I spill kofefe, I end up slipping and falling on it and breaking the other leg. So I don't want to spill any kofefe. But I do want to switch back to this screen now that I know that you guys can see this. Happy Hanukkah to all those who celebrate. And by celebrate, I mean lighting candles. Really, that's what I know about the Hanukkah. Producer Jojo celebrates, and at random celebrates. We're going to be watching some YouTube TV that is sponsored by At Random. Pretty much this entire thing is sponsored by producer Jojo, or Nurse Jojo at this point, because she's been doing a wonderful job of taking care of me during this time. So I'm thankful for producer Jojo. Yesterday, she took me to a Los Angeles Kings game in a wheelchair. Here's something I'm thankful for, guys. I got a wheelchair yesterday off of OfferUp. It's an almost new wheelchair. I got it for 20 bucks. 20 bucks. So I could have asked the doctor, hey, can you write me a prescription for a wheelchair? And then gone to a medical supply place, gotten a wheelchair, and then my health insurance would have paid for it. It's like, do I really need a wheelchair? No, I don't really need a wheelchair. Now, perfectly within my rights for paying all these years for healthcare, I could have just done it. And, I'm sure healthcare pays $400 for a $150 wheelchair, whatever it is. But I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And then I found one yesterday on OfferUp. I was going to go without one because I have a little scooter thing, a little knee scooter, which is, by the way, dangerous. And I have crutches. I could have survived. But then yesterday, I found tickets for the disability section at the Los Angeles Kings game. And I thought, well, I better have a wheelchair for that. It turns out I was wrong. But anyway, I thought I better have a wheelchair. Plus, a wheelchair is, I tried the other day to go down to a Kings game and just getting from the parking lot to the stadium in the stroller without oh my God. I got to tell you guys that story. I don't have the paperwork around here. There's another story coming. Well, let's check in on the chat there. Libby, it's snowing in Connecticut. Good to know. I'm thankful for snow. I'm also thankful for the wonderful weather we have here in Southern California so that all this month during December, I'll be able to play tennis. Tennis in the new year. So hopefully in January it won't be raining too badly here, but I do miss the snow. And I would like to take a trip up to Seattle at some point. My dad, coincidentally, is having. Hold on, I do have a story, and it's just going to blow your mind in frustration. And if it doesn't blow your mind, it's going to make you want to blow your own mind out because it certainly has blown my mind out. Now, I did not ask the doctor for a, a prescription for a wheelchair. I didn't want insurance to have to pay for that. I understand because I don't want to bankrupt the country. I thought, well, I don't really need the wheelchair. After yesterday, after getting it, it is wonderful to have because it's good for JoJo's thigh development, really, and that's what you're after. And it will be good for Kevin Lee Daughter's muscle development because they do the pushing. Actually, it's actually good for me. It's good exercise for me because most of the time it's better for me to wheel myself, and you at least build some upper body strength, like the Goliath Madison Crawford. And eventually, I want to be able to beat up trees, and so I need that upper body strength, and that's what I'm going to work on with the wheelchair. But then the same could be said for crutches. Anyway, crutches are a pain in the underarms, quite literally. They start chafing, and yeah, nobody wants that on the side boob. So I didn't ask for that. What I did ask the doctor for, I saw the podiatrist the other day who said, you don't need surgery. So thankful for that, as long as I don't screw it up. What I did ask the doctor for is, hey, would it be okay to get a disability parking pass temporarily? She's like, sure, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's the form. Fill it out. I'll do my part. And then she signed and stamped her part, gave me the form. And I thought that's great. That way, when we go to one of these, anywhere, I can park a little closer and use my crutches or wheelchair if I get one or whatever it is, and get it's closer. And that way too, especially if you want to go down to Staples Center where the Kings play or one of the other locations, if you're parking, obviously you know how I like to park far away from things so I get some exercise and no one dings my vehicle. But that's another story. I like to so. I have the DMV form because they have the DMV form right there at the doctor's. I have the DMV form. I call on Tuesday after my appointment. I wait an hour on hold for the DMV. No, that's not true. I waited for them to call me back. After a few minutes on hold, they give you an option. We'll call you back. So an hour and a half later, they call back. Hey, do I need an appointment to do this, or can I just go and they're going to see that I'm on crutches and they're going to let me in? He says, oh, they should just let you in. Just go to the line and they should just let you in because you're on crutches and no one complains. And that's what they're supposed to do. But they might not. So make an appointment anyway. I'm like, okay, fine. So I make an appointment for 2:10. I'm there right at 2:10. They say, oh, there was no line anyway, amazingly, at the DMV. Awesome. Okay. So I go inside and I said, yeah, I need to get a handicap pass. They said, well, show us your forms. Okay, sure. Yeah, I got this. I filled out this one. And then the second page, the doctor filled it all out. And he says, oh, that's the old form. I said, you know what? I know. I looked it up online, and online it's a slightly different form because you can submit it online and your doctor has to send it in online as well. That was too complicated. I said, it's slightly different, but all the stuff is the same. It's like question number 5 for the doctor, what's the disability? That's on the first page at the bottom instead of on the second page at the top. It's the same form. So, this is the old form. We can't use this. Okay. No, seriously. You can see I'm on crutches. I have one leg. Can we? No, you're going to have to go back to the doctor's office and get her to fill out the new form. All the information is here. It's stamped. It's got the signature. It's got my diagnosis. It's got my prognosis. It's got the expiration. It's got everything you need. It's just an older form. So it's still the same. It's all the same. I have a broken leg. I had to have somebody drive me here to the DMV. It is very painful for me to drive. I had to curry a favor to be driven here to the DMV today. Right now, my ride, by the way, was Nurse Jojo. Thank you, Nurse Jojo, is sitting out in the parking lot, just doing nothing. I'm sure falling asleep. So if you wouldn't mind, can you please give me the ticket and the person will give me? No, we can't. Yeah, no, we can't. Oh my God. So I pulled a Karen. I said, can I speak to a manager, please? Because I figured come on, this is just silly. And the peon at the front, he says, okay, you can talk to a manager, but say the same thing. Fine. Can I speak to a manager? So I go and then I wait in line. I have to stand waiting in line, waiting. And then the manager's talking to somebody. And then I guess like a secondary manager or something says, oh, I can help you over here. I'm like, okay, good. Somebody saw that I had the leg thing. Somebody who knows what's going on. Okay, I'm going to go up that. Yeah, this form is old. We can't do that. No, but it's got all the different. It's got no, but the new form is different. I know the format is different, but all the information you need is right. Yeah, you're going to have to go back to the doctor. No, okay. The doctor is in West Covina. It's like a half an hour away, and the doctor isn't there because it's the day before Thanksgiving and the office is closed, and they're going to be closed tomorrow, and they're going to be closed on Friday, and they're going to be closed on Saturday, and they're going to be closed on Sunday, and it hurts me. It literally hurts me to A, drive places, and B, to stand here in front of you and listen to this idiocy because this form has all the information you want. I kept my cool because I had to do a couple of other things at the DMV as well. I wanted to get my the enhanced ID. So the manager said no. And I said, but it's not that old. I said, right here, 2015. So it was made in 2015. It must have run for a while. And again, the information is all the same. She says, oh, this is actually 2 iterations ago. She didn't use the word iteration. I think she just said these are 2 forms ago. Whatever she said, I don't know that she knew the word iteration. Anyway, she said, if it was the last one, then we could use it. I said, ha! So you can use old forms, right? This happens to be, it's all the same information. Well, if it was the last one, we could take it. So now they can take old forms, but not 2 iterations ago, only 1 iteration ago. She says, yeah, you're going to have to go back to the doctor. You can fax it to them. I said, do I look like I have a fax machine? Does it look like it's 1983 in my face? Did we have fax machines in 83? I don't even know. I don't remember. Oh, anyway, so here I am, and I know I'm an American of privilege, but I'm also at this point for the next couple of months, I'm an American with a disability. And the DMV could not help me out because the form had all the information that they needed. When I got home, I looked it up too. When I got home, I looked up, I said, is there anything on here? Is the wording somehow different? Is there a different, is there something that minimizes the amount of time that you can have it printed on the form because it's the temporary one? Is there, no, it's all the same. It's just a different format because what they did is they took it and now you can use the form to apply online. So you can either print out the form or send it in online. Either way, but of course, you have to get the doctor to sign the form, and they won't accept the new form. I don't know. Maybe on Monday I'll go to a different DMV. There's one not too far away, but I don't know where the doctor's even going to be. She has 2 offices, neither of which is terribly convenient when you're driving with a broken leg. All right. Okay, Libby's a doctor. She knows something about non-weight bearing things. Anyway, speaking of knowing stuff about medical procedures, we've got Omicron coming. Let's not worry about Omicron yet, because there's a bunch of stuff we don't know about Omicron. The reason that people are so excited about the Omicron is, by the way, worrying doesn't do anything, so it's pointless anyway. Taking prudent action is what we want to do on Omicron. And we should have immediately closed all the borders. They're not closing till Monday, but you need to stop all the flights except for American citizens. They need to be quarantined. They need to be tested. The beautiful thing about Omicron is that it doesn't need to be sequenced. If we see, when you take a PCR test, there's basically 3 channels, and if all 3 channels light up, well, that is the coronavirus. The beautiful thing is with Omicron, it only lights up 2 of the channels. So if you get a positive test with only 2 of the 3 channels, very high likelihood that it's Omicron. So that's very, very good. Delta, I believe, lights up 3 channels. I could be wrong about this. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV and on YouTube. So that's the good news. The other good news is we're not sure how lethal this is. The bad news is it's at least 500% more contagious than the original Alpha variant and the 2020 variant, the original COVID. Delta was about 70% more contagious. This thing's about 500%. In South Africa, in one region of South Africa where it wasn't discovered in South Africa, it was actually Botswana, but South Africa's done a wonderful job of sharing all the information with the peoples around the world. So this is how we know that it's coming, as opposed to China, which kept everything hush-hush for a long time. So there's a couple of things about the virus. Oh yeah, it went from, the reason everyone's so panicked about it, and rightly so, is that what they do with the variants is they see how many of the cases end up being that particular variant at any given time. Delta started off as 1%, and then it was 5%, and a few weeks later it was 70%, and then eventually after like 2 months it got up to 90 to 100% of the cases. That's how powerful Delta was compared to the other variants. Omicron, yeah, when we get to Omega, the virus is done, so we're good. So Omicron, it started off at 1% in one of the regions in South Africa, and by the next week it was at 30%. So it just takes off. There were 2 flights that came into the Netherlands from South Africa. 61 of those passengers had it out of those 2 flights. It wasn't just one flight. And it'll be interesting. Hopefully, they're quarantining everybody. It'll be interesting in a week or so to see what percentage of those passengers on those 2 flights have it. Because 61 tested positive within just hours of arriving in the Netherlands. Yeah, it's also the number of mutations and where they are. Yeah, on the spike protein, your average variant, the spike protein is basically sort of the key that gets you into the human body. This is a very simplified version of what's going on. The spike protein, which is what unlocks the key to our immune system and it kills us. The spike protein, rather than just like 5 mutations as most of your variants have, this one has over 30. And a lot of those variants of the mutations on the spike protein, we're not sure what they do. They could be fine. They could have no effect whatsoever. Several of them, we already know what they do. This one makes it more contagious. This mutation, this makes it more deadly. This mutation makes it, well, we don't know that there's a more deadly protein, there's a more deadly mutation on that spike protein. But basically, it's a key, and we used to have those old keys with the little clover leaf at the top and 2 or 3 spikes. And now this is basically the digital keypad version of how a variant can attack our immune system. So we will have 13 of the 61 have Omicron, babe. Is that so? The other ones just have regular coronavirus. Here's the fundamental problem. Oh, by the way, they figure that this variant came out of somebody with immunocompromisation, so that the virus was able to run ranshod and mutate to its heart's delight, and that's why we have so many mutations coming out of Omicron. Now, immunocompromised people have a lot of difficulty processing the vaccine. So what you have to do is protect the immunocompromised by getting everybody else vaccinated. Botswana has only a 20% vaccination rate. 20% in Botswana. This is where we think the virus came from. It could have come from any other of the countries around there because they don't have sophisticated healthcare. It could be running wild around Southern Africa right now. We don't know. But South Africa does have very sophisticated healthcare. Believe me, I've broken my leg in South Africa. And the healthcare in South Africa was more sophisticated when I was 9 than some of the stuff I've seen here in the United States. So, yeah, vaccinate the planet, problem solved. That would be wonderful. The judges are not here today. The judges heard that I broke my leg, so they took off. So there's no bells, no whistles. I want to see if this works. I'm just going to play Hannity for a second here, and you guys check in to tell me if you can hear it.
Now, breaking tonight.
Okay, so what's her face is subbing in for Hannity here. She'll tell us all about the virus. The reason I wanted to watch this part is because I know that Stephen Miller is going to be on, and nothing is more entertaining than the nonsense that comes out of his mouth. I forget her name now. Okay, you guys can hear? Okay, good. So let's go with that. So there's going to be travel restrictions in Namibia, which Trump called Nambia. Botswana, which is actually a beautiful country. Mozambique, which is a communist country. Eswatini, it used to be called Swaziland, and I used to live there. Lesotho, which is potentially the most beautiful country on the planet. By the way, Lesotho is just absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. Malawi, I lived in Malawi for a while. That's where Madonna buys her babies. And then, of course, South Africa, which is where the cases are being diagnosed at this point of Omicron. So, thank you, Tom, for letting me know that we can hear. And this is, of course, he's on. Yes, this is a rare There's a rare opportunity to watch Stephen Miller during the day. Thank God for video recording. So we'll take a look at that. I miss Southern Africa too. By the way, I'd love to get back there. I'm not going right now. Let's see what the folks on Hannity have to say about the virus. And I'm already getting sore by being propped up here. I might just lay down altogether. Welcome to the lie down stream. That's Chris Wilson's joke. But before we even get going with that, let's slow things down a little bit. I want to hear what you guys are thankful for. I'm thankful that this bone that I broke in my foot is not going to require surgery. That's a much bigger deal. And hopefully just staying off of it for 6 to 8 weeks, I'm going to be good. I'm very grateful. I don't know if she's listening or if she can hear me right now. Very grateful for producer JoJo. Yeah, she's what? Oh, she's emptying the dishwasher right now. I'm very good. Guys, can I let you in on a secret? I'm faking the broken foot, right? So then I go, because I'm getting out of housework. I don't have to get ready for the open houses that they're having. Producer JoJo has to get ready for the open house we have today. She's doing all the driving. I just lay back in the back seat and put my foot up, and I get fucking stoned, right? They gave me Norco. So I'm just popping these pills left and right. It's fantastic. Anyway, so I think she's not watching the broadcast. I think she's just doing the dishwasher, but she can hear me verbally. That's why I'm whispering. So I'm having a great time, and I'm thankful for that. Here's the thing, though. When she took me to the podiatrist, which was just a ruse anyway. It's a friend of mine who's actually an endocrinologist. This is beside the point because I'm like, just pretend you're a foot doctor. Like, how difficult can it be? It's like 5 metatarsals, right? And she's like, oh man, I screwed that up. I meant to anyway. By the way, I'm actually not taking my Narco. That's a joke. But anyway, oh wait, Joanna's in the room. Yeah, so really thankful for producer Joanna. So let's watch some Hannity now.
The Biden administration has imposed a travel ban on 8 African countries in response to speculation about the spread of a new COVID variant called Omicron. The variant has been found.
Isn't it Omicron, guys? Is it Omicron? Speculation. It's speculation. It's not speculation. We know it's there. We know it exists. We know it's really, really contagious. We know that already. But okay, speculation.
In travelers to
right there next to her, the headline reads, "Highly transmissible COVID-19 variant of concern." But she's calling it speculation. Speculation. What are you doing? You're putting. Producer JoJo is trying to find a place for the menorah. We'll be celebrating Hanukkah here. Do you celebrate Hanukkah or do you observe Hanukkah? Anyway, she's going to be trying to burn down the house with candles tonight, as opposed to every other night she burns down the house with candles. These candles don't smell like vanilla hazelnut though, so it'll be different. Are they scented? Oh, see, there's a marketing idea: scented Hanukkah candles. Why? Somebody get on that at random. Omicron. Yeah, Omicron. That's what I thought it was too. Omicron. Omicron was one of the Descendabots.
Hong Kong, Belgium, and Israel, as well as in southern Africa, and deemed a variant of concern.
It's in the UK too now, and it's in the Netherlands, and it's anyway.
By the World Health Organization. And
sorry guys, it's in my headphones. I got to turn her down. I'm hoping it won't affect your ability to hear. She's like the discount Judge Janine. Even when she whispers, she's yelling. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Here we go.
Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley points out the World Health Organization appears to have noticeably skipped the Greek letter Xi, spelled Xi, in the Greek alphabet, just like the Chinese leader spells his name.
Xi? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't even know. Isn't it Psy? But anyway.
In naming the variant. Now, the WHO claims that was just to avoid any confusion with a very common last name. But is it perhaps their latest efforts to play bodyguard for China? And get this, it was Joe Biden himself.
Oh, because President Xi. Okay, all right. I thought NU was the next letter in the Greek alphabet. I could be wrong. I don't really care. Call it whatever you want. I mean, just so long as we have a name for it, that's good.
Who
Tom says it's she. Um, I was in Kai Sai, which is what, but that's with a P. Liberty says perhaps regional accent. New England says Omicron. But we say all sorts of stuff different through the rest of the U.S. Yeah, that's true as well. So, I mean, really, it's Greek to me.
suggested that a similar Trump travel ban was, of course, racist, tweeting January 1st, 2020, quote, Trump further diminished the U.S. in the eyes of the world by expanding his travel ban.
Okay, first off, she can see her own screen. It's February 1st of 2020. February 1st. And he called Trump racist. He didn't call travel ban racist. And listen to what he says. This is about, he's talking, the part about the racism is talking about the ban in Africa, the ban in Chad. There was no reason to ban Chad. That was an issue with Trump's people who were involved in oil. Chad is a heavily oil company. It's a corrupt country. It's yeah. What Joe Biden here is saying is the original travel ban is a racist travel ban. That's what he's saying. He's not talking about extending it to China. In fact, he approved of the extension to China. He advocated for it before Trump did it and then after it.
And this new
and he's doing it himself. So there's no hypocrisy on Biden's part here.
new African ban is designed to make it harder for black and brown people to immigrate to the United States. So what changed, Joe? And ask yourself, after all the lies and flip-flops over the last 18 months, is there any credibility left for the so-called experts? Will new fears about this variant be used as a
by the way, the ban on China, Trump's travel ban to China, did not work. And that was Fauci's idea, by the way. Fauci approached them. We have the video of that. We've watched it before. But we're not going to, I don't have the video of it on this computer, but we've all seen it before. Trump approached, I even did a Shut the Fact Up on it. Fauci approached Trump and talked about it in a press conference with Trump standing right there, and Trump didn't say a goddamn thing to correct Fauci. Then later claimed that Fauci was against it and claimed it was his idea. It didn't work. The virus was already coming in from Europe. We need to shut down the border to everyone right now for like a few days because we'll have more answers about Omicron, whatever you want to call it, within a matter of days.
Text to change the definition of what fully vaccinated.
Oh, and the other thing, of course, that you don't just shut down the border, you quarantine, as that random suggests. You quarantine people. You do a real quarantine like they do in Hong Kong. By the way, here's the scariest part about Omicron. In Hong Kong, when you go, you have to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks. They let you into your room. The key works one time. You go into your room, you don't come out because you can't get back into your room. They bring you food, you room service, etc. But you're in that room for 2 weeks. A lot of countries are like that. Australia's like that in different areas. They were like that. New Zealand, you can't even go to New Zealand. There's a whole bunch of different restrictions. If you fly back to New Zealand, you're a New Zealand citizen. You have to stay in a hotel for 2. There's all kinds of stuff. And the U.S., it's welcome to the U.S. Please don't have a variant. That's how we do it here. This is the reason Omicron's so scary. In Hong Kong, you had somebody arrive from South Africa. After the second PCR test, they tested positive for Omicron. The person across the hallway from them, after 4 PCR tests, because they frequently test PCR, after 4, they tested positive for Omicron. So we know that there's no contact between the two of them. This is across the hallway in the hotel. And Hong Kong, by the way, is doing an amazing job with contact tracing. Not only do they know that the person with no contact across the hall between 2 closed doors caught Omicron, but also they swabbed the areas. And I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but out of like 81 swabs, 27 in both the hotel rooms, 25, 27 tested positive for the variant. So it is a highly contagious hotel room doors, plastic shields in the grocery store. None of that is going to protect you. It really doesn't against Delta and some of the other variants as well, but it makes you feel good. Those little plastic barriers. Masks, unless they're an N95 sealed mask, they're not going to help. They're going to cut it down slightly simply because they catch some of the droplets randomly. But Omicron is going to spread like wildfire. Uh, Tony B says, I'm hearing reports that Omicron is more deadly for those who are vaccinated, vaxxed, or dropping dead from heart attacks. I'm getting scared. Um, be cautious. We don't know what it does yet. And it could be more deadly. Like I've said since the beginning, all of the variants we've had, they're just rehearsal variants. A virus can be much, much more deadly, especially a virus like COVID that goes after your immune system and triggers even healthy people have an immune system response, and you end up with what's called a cytokine storm. Your own immune system attacks your body, and those are the scary viruses. And it's similar to what happens when your body gets AIDS, but that's an immunodeficiency. That's a different thing. But those are the scary ones that really can take out a population. So be cautious, people. And so far, we don't have any evidence of community spread here in the US. But the concerning part is we do a terrible job of monitoring here in the United States with all the medical technology that we have. And I just witnessed that with my leg the other day. I went to the ER and they brought the x-ray to me. Got this big machine and they just did it right there in the I didn't even have a room in the ER. I was just in the hallway. And they just did the x-ray in the hallway. It was like when you throw a grenade into a foxhole and you say, fire in the hole, you turn your back. That's what they did. They were just, the boop, they aimed it up, they put my foot on a plate, they said x-ray, and they turned around, and then they were good to go. Let's get back to the show here.
Means will lock down.
Oh, here's the scary part. Both of the people in Hong Kong, one who brought the virus, the other one in a separate hotel room who caught the virus, both of them were double vaccinated by Pfizer. Both of these individuals had breakthrough cases. It's not soon enough now to know what the prognosis. We know the prognosis. We don't know the prognosis. We know the diagnosis. They've got Omicron. We don't know the prognosis because it hasn't been long enough yet. If both of those people die, we are in a shit world of trouble. So let's keep going.
Liberals be back to their old tricks. As Fauci recently said at a conference, quote, right now, officially, fully vaccinated equals 2 shots of the mRNA and 1 shot of the J&J. But without a doubt, that could change, says the village troll. Will the goalposts...
The village troll. The village troll. Hey, we're trying to protect you as much as we possibly can, but we're the village troll.
Move once again. Here to react to that and much more, Fox News medical contributor Dr. Nicole Saphier.
I thought Stephen Miller was going to be the medical contributor. Okay, let's hear what the Vampiric Council has to say.
And former senior advisor to President Trump, Stephen Miller.
I didn't know that it could smile.
Dr. Nicole, really, when we think about this variant, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's thousands of variants already. There's thousands of variants. We heard about the NU variant. These are all named, using the Greek letter system. So that was the last variant that we were supposed to be very afraid of. Delta.
Wait, did we have the NU variant? I missed that. The NU variant was not a variant of concern, was it? I thought that NU was the next variant to come up. Could be wrong.
In the meantime, of course, is now the variant. It's, I think, 100% of our cases here in the United States. Are you concerned about this new one, or are we at a point where...
Yeah, and the Lambda variant coming out of, was it Venezuela, Bolivia, somewhere down there? That was very concerning for about a week, and then it fizzled out. So we're hoping the same thing happens with Omicron, but hope and worry have the same level of efficacy. They don't matter. We need to take prudent action. At Random says they do portable x-rays in the ER on Grey's Anatomy, so therefore it must be a thing. It is. Also, the doctor that I saw, wonderful doctor, and the nurse who took care of, put my boot on me, they had sex in the closet. So it was just like Grey's Anatomy. As I was waiting, so it took a little longer than it should have, but you know what? I'm not complaining. The closet, of course, the medical supply closet had a glass window, so I had a good view.
It just seems like the Fauci that cried wolf.
I know. Rex out is pointing out that Stephen doesn't have a spray-on hair on at this time, and I am disappointed by that.
And the WHO that cried wolf.
Well, Tammy, the latest variant of concern, B11529, recently named as Omicron.
That is correct. That is the number. Judges are not here. I got nothing.
By the World Health Organization earlier today is thought to have originated from South Africa. As you mentioned, it has.
No, it's not. It's thought to have originated from Botswana. But okay, doctor. I mean, come on. Here I am, literally lame foot, Twitter guy, random guy, and I have more information than Dr. Nicole here.
Expanded to the surrounding nations, also seeing.
No, that's not what happened. That is, we know that the first identified case was Botswana. It could have been in the other, as I've discussed earlier, it could have been in Mozambique, Namibia, Swaziland has more advanced medical care. Honestly, most of these countries just send their serious patients to South Africa because South Africa has had advanced medical care for decades. Tony B says, I'm getting sick and tired of all this. Once we get a vaccine for Omicron, people should be forced into having it. It's not a popular view, I know, but I don't care anymore. Yeah, sure. Okay, Tony. Good idea. But more importantly, we got to vaccinate the world. There's international travel now. So, in fact, producer Jojo today is thinking of going to visit some of her friends. And the ladies, very nice people. But the lady's husband is from South Africa, and he's there with his son right now. And by the way, everyone in South Africa apparently is scared out of their gourd, because that's if you're watching South African news right now, it's an hour constant. It's like CNN with a plane crash. It's all they're talking about in South Africa, and rightfully so.
Cases in the UK and Israel, not the UK, but Europe and Israel and even Hong Kong. And they believe it is more widespread than originally.
Something happened to Eve here. I kind of want to see what that is. I can go back on the chat. Hold on. I'm finding it difficult to watch the chat and this at the same time because my monitor is my TV and I'm connected by a long HDMI cord. It's up there. That's why I'm looking up there all the time, guys. And I can't watch the chat as much as I want. Can I go back up in the chat? Hold on, guys. Let's see if, I haven't. First off, thank you to Marcy and Maurice for the contribution of this laptop that I'm working on. I would not be able to live stream at all if I was on the big computer because I can't put my foot up when I'm sitting or I could, but it would be very awkward. Plus I'd have to put, anyway, thanks to Marcy and Maurice. I want to see what happened to Eve here. I'm using my finger to do that. Okay, Eve says, drop the mail in the street. He. Always fun to dodge cars. It flew all over. Then they didn't answer the door. I left it, the mail. It's going to be one of those days. What? Are you picking up mail for somebody else? Eve, is that what's going on? I don't know. Let's go back down to the bottom. Zoom. Okay. Tony says, sorry, but I think if you gave people the choice, then they would take the vaccine. But I think if you gave the people that choice, I'm not sure what the choice is. Eve takes care of a gentleman neighbor. She's always bringing him dinner. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Stephanie. So back to the broadcast here. Here we go.
Thought. So what is it? We don't really know right now, Tammy. It's very early. It's hard to say. It does seem to be.
I like the B-roll they're using, like a guy's cutting hair. Jermaine, thank you.
Highly transmissible, and they are thinking that it is.
Like we don't have any B-roll of Africa. We've got an ice cream shop and a guy cutting hair. Thanks, Fox News. Thanks for being on top of this breaking news.
Is causing a rise of cases in South Africa. What we don't know at this.
An alarming rise of cases.
this time, Tammy, is whether it is more virulent, meaning does it cause more severe disease, and is it able to escape natural immunity, vaccine-induced immunity, as well as our treatments? This is a very fluid situation. We have data and information coming.
Look at, so Stephen Miller, when he's sitting there by himself, he rocks himself. He rocks himself back and forth, which scientists say is a method of self-soothing. It may be that his brain is completely imbalanced and he's just trying to keep it in the center. I don't know. Or keep it on the far right. I could have. There's a joke there somewhere, people. Fill it in yourselves.
By the minute. The South African scientists are being very transparent, very open with us. It's a very different experience than we had with the Chinese Communist Party.
That is correct.
Nearly 2 years ago. But at this point, Tammy, I can tell you there's over 32 mutations in the spike protein of this variant of concern. So that does make it interesting. And it is possible that, yes, there may be a dampened effect from the vaccines, from immunity, and from treatments, but it is highly unlikely they won't have an effect at all. But what this brings to light is
Okay. We don't know that. It's not necessarily highly unlikely, because remember, there were a lot of doctors on Fox News at the beginning saying we might lose 10,000 people to coronavirus, and it's pretty much the flu.
the importance of
But what she's saying here is it's technically accurate. We don't know, but she's not putting anything into definitive terms. So yeah, she's correct. It's 32 different mutations at least from the original virus.
of global immunity. When we look at the United States, we have about 70% of our population fully vaccinated, and that's a wonderful thing.
Right.
If you look at South Africa, they're at about 25%. Surrounding nations, less than 20%. Rather than focusing on boosting our populations, we need to be focusing on making sure vaccines and treatments are accessible and affordable to these lesser nations so that we get global population so these variants do not emerge.
Well, and
Well, that's kind of like not an American first policy, which is what Fox News has been screaming for all this time. So, yes, she's absolutely correct. And this is what I've been saying and what you guys have been saying. By the way, I can't really read the chat right now. I could do this and look like 140 years old and read the chat. Yeah, so yeah, we have plenty of vaccine here in the States. We do need to be concentrating on getting it out there. Some people over there are not taking it on purpose. More people over here, most of the Republicans are not taking it because Kamala Harris said something negative about the vaccine before it existed.
this is the difficult thing, Stephen.
By the way, this is the trope in the right wing, is that Republicans are refusing to take the vaccine because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were poo-pooing it. They weren't poo-pooing the vaccine, by the way. They were saying we need to make sure that Trump doesn't rush this. We need to listen to the doctors and the scientists, not Trump. That's what Biden and Harris said. But now, on the right, they're saying people are hesitant because of Biden and Harris. You know, those 60% of Republicans who follow everything that Biden and Harris say.
I mean, we have.
This is why in the southern states this weekend, you saw a rush on $350 cooking pots because Kamala Harris endorsed it.
Of these vaccines, we know that as Delta now is the main, if not the singular cause here, the variant in the United States, these boosters are the same vaccine for the Alpha version. They weren't adjusted. We get our flu shots adjusted to the various strains that we wonder if the flu's, which flus.
By the way, good news. It is very likely that at least Moderna and possibly Pfizer already have a vaccine for this. They developed the first vaccine in about a weekend. And here's why. They've been working on the mRNA technology for 20 years. And once they have the sequencing of the original virus, they were able to input that into the computer. The computer whirred and clicked and beeped as computers do over the weekend and came up with a vaccine in about 3 days. And then they test that vaccine and it proved to be effective. So there are probably multiple vaccines already ready to go. They just need to be tested, which in this case, we don't have to do the third level of the study because we already know that the basic vaccine isn't going to kill a bunch of people after the first 6 weeks. So within 6 weeks, we should have a proven vaccine against whatever this variant happens to be, if a vaccine can be made. So we're going to have some mRNA vaccine very quickly. What you do is you produce a bunch of that vaccine at the same time. Within 90 days, you should have a pretty good supply. Not enough for everybody, but a pretty good supply. If this variant attacks the elderly or the middle-aged or whatever it happens to attack, God forbid the children, you should have a fairly decent supply for the Republicans to refuse to take within 90 days. At Random says, what I've heard is that they could have a booster for it in 90 days, production by summer. Thank you, At Random. I guess I just wasted my time. Tom says, Ronnie Johnson called it MEV, midterm election variant. Yeah, this is all planned because Democrats love losing family members. We don't know how sick the people with Omicron are getting because it's been around for about a week and a half. That's the amazing part, is that South Africa has done such an amazing job tracking and contact tracing this variant. We don't know how virulent it is. Dr. Nicole is correct. We know that it's highly contagious. In specific situations, we do not know how virulent it is and how powerful it is in order to break through the people who've been vaccinated. So hopefully we find out. By the way, those people who caught it in Hong Kong, it was less than 6 months since they had been fully vaccinated, so they were not even eligible for the booster in the United States if they were in the United States.
Going to hit us. So it seems like we're rushing when we don't even know what this new variant's going to do. But really, a lot of this, we can't deny, has been so political.
Ounce of prevention, dear. An ounce of prevention. And no, none of it's been political. None of it.
Do you see politics in this? Is this another dynamic about fear?
I see politics everywhere.
Of course you do.
You asked a few brilliant questions there. You made some really great points. Let me start with COVID is becoming endemic. It is going to continue to mutate.
It is not. We're still at about 100,000 cases a day.
It's going to continue to evolve. It's all around planet Earth. If President Trump was still in office, by the way, we'd already have modified vaccines to deal with the new variants.
This is a word the right wing they're not using it correctly, but they're saying like, oh, it's pretty much here to stay, so let's not worry about it.
Which is a great point. President Trump brought us vaccines in record times, which he made voluntary, not mandatory, and he'd have updates too. But just as importantly, President Trump emphasized therapeutics.
So President Trump would have already had a vaccine for this variant. Thanks, President Trump. He's still president, by the way. My Pillow Guy said so. He's just doing a secret presidency. So right now, he's down in the basement lab at Mar-a-Lago. No, I'm kidding. That's not true because Republicans are so scared of basements. At Random says, we don't need to modify vaccines for variants thus far. That's correct.
And treatments.
Right.
That's completely off the table now. As you're seeing variants.
No, it's not completely off the table. Pfizer has a new treatment. It's a pill. Merck has a new treatment, which unfortunately is proving not to be as effective as in the studies. But the studies were, like 700 people. What are you going to do? So some people have died now. Nobody died in the trials using the Merck pill. Some people have died since that, even with the treatment from the Merck pill. The trouble is you have to get it to the people's very, very early on in the disease, hopefully before illness even is onset, and that's tough to do. But yeah, there are many more treatments now. We didn't just stop developing treatments. What he's saying is drug companies stopped doing research because President Trump left office, which is as stupid as he is.
After variant and new strain after new strain, at some point you have to put serious scientific effort into treating the illness. Both with...
And that's what we've been doing.
Serious medications like
This man is such an idiot, and he's so righteously indignant about his idiocy. That's what I should call this live stream.
Antibodies, as well as more common over-the-counter medications that may be shown in clinical studies.
Well, while I'm doing this, and guys, I'm sorry, it's the chat is blurry to me right now, just because I'm old and almost dead. Uh, Parts of me are dead. I mean, my insides have been dead for years. By the way, Dexter's back on the air. Take a look. It's on Showtime. Um, so I totally forgot what I was talking about because I'm old. What? The chat room? Oh yeah. If you're thankful for something, guys, this is it's Thanksgiving weekend. If you're thankful for something, shout it out in the chat, and I hope that I see it. Uh, Hold on. What? Chris Wilson had a good something thankful for. What was he thankful for? So you guys probably can't hear producer Joanna because she does have the world's softest voice, especially when I need to know something. So Chris Wilson says his son's coming home with a fiance, and he's thankful for that, and that's awesome. What, from the Navy? From the Navy? Wow. So Chris Wilson then is what do they call people with they're not Gold Star parents, and thank God for that. But there's a term for parents who have children in the military, not Gold Star, but Blue Star, something like that. Parents who raise good kids. So good job. Well, that can't be right. We're talking about Chris Wilson here. So his wife obviously did a wonderful job. Producer Jojo, what are you thankful for? She can't think. The immediate response is, I'm thankful that I have you making divots in my couch cushions. That's the obvious answer. She's literally sitting there just giggling because she can't think of anything that she's thankful for. Liberty says, I'm thankful that my mom survived COVID and was here for Thanksgiving dinner. That is awesome. Yay. This is like Charlie Brown's teacher says at random. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, thankful that I haven't eaten all the chocolates, and that is true because I did eat like 4 last night. I'm going to gain so much weight. I'm going to look pregnant by the end of all of this. I'm going to be lying down. I'll get so big that I might just continue this whole lie down stream because I'm just not burning many calories at all, folks. And this is the worst time of year not to be burning calories because people eat a lot during the holidays. But that being said, I did order myself a new scale during Black Friday. Here's the thing about the scale. It's the same scale as I had before, but it broke. That tells you something. The scale it's a digital scale that talks to my phone, but you activate it by stepping on it with both feet. I don't know if it's going to work. I might have to do this. I might have to call producer Joanna into the bathroom and say, step on the scale really quickly, and then I'll jump on with one foot and balance and see if it gives me a reading. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I ordered one during the Black Friday sale, so hopefully. She's holding up my sweats. I'm wearing sweats, by the way, most of the time. Ginormous sweats is what she's saying. Right now, she's folding laundry, which is well, that's what producer Jojo does anyway. So nothing has changed here. Eve says, prep to be Santa. Something is really wrong with this Miller guy. That's all I have to say. Yeah, but anyway, thankful for my mom survived COVID. Okay, you guys are not thankful for that much. It's not coming in that much. At random is thankful for foot. All right. I don't know if that's about me or about her boyfriend. Hi, what's up? For just one. Oh, at random says her scale activated with just 1 foot. Okay, that's what she said right there. So I'm thankful for that. Hopefully the same will be said of mine. Mine is, I think, a slightly older model. It was on the Black Friday sale. There was a $19.99 and there was a $16.99. And as you know, by the way, the biggest thing about this is that it's hurt my finances because I can't get an acting gig with a broken leg. I was up for, I had a callback and I had 2 more please submit videos for a couple of things that they actually were considering white people for. So that was nice. And then there was, they asked me to submit an audition for like a gig that paid like $40,000. And they wanted somebody a little bit overweight. And I'm like, well, I'm halfway there. I just can't stand not being able to act. So for the next couple of months, I'm reading the auditions very carefully to see if there's anything that I'm like looking for a man sitting down or something like that. Anyway, that's a different story, and I'm not begging for money. It is a Jones fracture. It is not a Jones fracture. In the emergency room, they thought it was a Jones fracture, which is bad. And the podiatrist said it's almost a Jones fracture. It didn't, in fact, fracture all the way through the toe. So that's very, very good news. And by toe, I mean it's halfway down the foot. It's just the metatarsal that leads to the pinky toe. Voiceovers are a possibility. The trouble is, if you're going to break your leg, this is kind of the best time to do it because this is when things slow down in the entertainment community. Between all the Christmas ads are already up in the can, they're ready, they're put out there. You're seeing them on TV already. So voiceover work slows way down. People take vacation. Hollywood shuts down for Hanukkah and then Christmas. So this being that Hanukkah starts tonight at sundown, it's nothing's going to happen in December in Hollywood. So that's good news for me, I guess. It's actually not that painful, Liberty. I'm doing fine. I consider myself very lucky in this case. Speaking of lucky, here's a man who's on TV and has a very, very tiny brain.
Studies that have a positive, provable, statistically significant effect. This administration is failing, and that's why more people died under Biden than Trump.
What? More people what? What did he say?
Serious medications like antibodies, as well as more common over-the-counter medications that may be shown in clinical studies to have a positive, provable, statistically significant effect. This administration is failing, and that's why more people died under Biden than Trump.
Oh, more people died under Biden than Trump. Okay. That's why. Because all of the treatments that Trump had, suddenly they went away. They disappeared like magic. That's what Stephen Miller is saying. That we've stopped doing research. And that's why more people have died. Because remdesivir and all the monoclonal antibodies, they've all disappeared. We're not using them anymore.
One more point, a very important one. These travel bans are not serious for the simple reason they don't apply to people who come illegally. What is a travel ban worth if you can get around it just by coming to the border illegally, and also, and just as importantly...
By the way, unless they qualify for asylum, and the people at the border, they are getting tested. Now, all of what the Republicans are saying is complete nonsense when it comes to the border. But this is Stephen Miller's baby, so...
In a human smuggling context, the disease spread is infinitely...
Well, if you ban human smuggling, you're doing what's already been done, Stephen. Human smuggling is illegal. That's why they have to be smuggled. That's... When are they going to make crime illegal? Hanukkah isn't really a take-off work holiday unless it's maybe to take vacation to visit family. In Hollywood, it's a take-off work. Yeah, but usually Hanukkah is very close to Christmas. This year, it's a sort of the beginning of the month, Christmas at the end of the month. But there's very little happens in Hollywood. And then January kicks in, it's pilot season, and it could be very busy. God, I hope it's busy. The thing is, with last year, I was on hold for a part in Station 19. They were going to shoot in January in Seattle, and it was canceled because of the third surge, the second wave that hit the United States. They canceled a bunch of production work and they canceled traveling to Seattle. So my nice little appearance, as by the way, like an anti-vaxxer, anti-COVID guy, would have been a great role. Would have been a lot of fun. Yelling at people in a Starbucks. I didn't get to do that because of COVID. Irony.
Worse. It is a
Tom says father, who's 89, with multiple underlying conditions, survived COVID-19 only for the vaccine. Loss of appetite, only issues he had. Only issue was loss of appetite for his dad, which is, that'd be a bonus for me right now. So if somebody out there has Omicron, come and lick this guy.
Super spreader zone. So it's all politics, it's not science, and the casualties are Americans.
Well, Dr.
Okay, what? He's just one of the stupidest human beings. He's so righteously indignant with his stupidness, though.
Nicole,
yes, you saw what I did there.
Same when we speak of whether or not a travel ban will work, we've got the Olympics coming up in February in Beijing. And it doesn't sound like they're going to ban these nations from attending. It seems like still, and this has been an argument for over a year, should we be going to the Olympics? Are you concerned about the nature of our athletes and athletes from around the world?
Yeah, so I'm against a boycott of the Olympics. It didn't work in 1980. It didn't work in 1984. It just sucks for the athletes, and they have nothing to do with the politics of it. However, right now there's some strange stuff happening with a Chinese tennis player. She's disappeared, but then she's talked to somebody, and they're doing these weird messages from her and emails that don't look like real emails coming from her. But then she's actually talked to members of the media, and there was a broadcast that basically looked like a hostage video. So some very weird things are happening with this tennis player. I haven't followed it extensively. Oh, correction time, by the way. I did say during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that he transported a weapon across state lines that he shouldn't have had. That is inaccurate. That was what originally was being reported. The weapon itself was in Kenosha. It stayed in Kenosha. He lives with his mother across the state line. Apparently, that weapon, which a friend bought because he couldn't buy it because he was only 17, a friend bought, that stayed in Kenosha. So he went to Kenosha, he got the gun, and then he went out and he murdered 2 people. So I wanted to correct that inaccuracy during the trial. And in my defense, I was saying during that time, I'm not paying that much attention to this. It's all bad, and I know he's going to be found innocent. And I was right. Yay. But anyway, the weapon was illegal for him to have, but then those charges had to be dropped because there was a size limit on how big the gun can be and still qualify to be an illegal weapon. So as long as your gun is longer than that size limit and you're 17, you're good. It's a very, very poorly written law, but they wrote it in order for like a 12-year-old to be able to go hunting with his dad and possess a longer rifle. So there was a size limit, and that weapon did not qualify within the size limit. That's the way the law works. Size matters when it comes to guns. Anything from YouTube on my monetization, remonetization, Kevin? No, nothing.
Going to the ground.
Oh, Jojo said something. What did Jojo say? She's not in the room anymore, by the way. Hopefully she's out there cleaning like she should be. Let's see what Jojo said here. Jojo, oh yeah. So Jojo's dad was 90 when he caught COVID. And he had it for 51 days, survived it. By the way, they did try, this is right at the very beginning, that it was going through the nursing homes. You remember that? Gerald Gardner, Jojo's dad, he got COVID, was in the hospital, 51 days, never ended up on a vent, thank God. But they did try hydroxychloroquine on him, and it almost killed him because it made his heart race. So they stopped that. So all of those people, there's no negative effects. We've been using it for 50 years. It almost killed the man. So luckily, the other doctor was like, no, stop this right away. So that's good news. Okay, let's press that. And we're back to In Hannity.
Zero of this pandemic in just a few short months.
Well, let's remember at this point, the novel coronavirus is all over the globe at this point. And I can tell you that, as Stephen mentioned, that we are going to move forward with this virus. And we should not be canceling major events, but we need to be taking proper precautions. And with that comes by testing, not just vaccine status, as we know that fully vaccinated are still capable of having breakthrough infection.
Oh, okay. We should be testing for the virus? We should have home tests. There is a conspiracy going on there. Here in the United States, a home test is $15 and they're unavailable. They're widely available in Europe and they're $3. Something is happening here.
And transmitting to other people. So it is important that we are having routine testing, surveillance testing, and making sure that people are not sick if they're congregating together, and do everything we can to lessen the spread. At this point, we know how to do that.
Testing. Yes.
But it is not the time to be canceling major events. It is time to move forward and figure out how we can do that safely.
Exactly.
And we're able to.
And Stephen, as you noted, focusing also on treatments, right? On the nature of how you handle.
So I was thinking of going to the Anaheim Ducks game today. I got free tickets. There was a thing. By the way, if you guys want to get me free tickets to a Kings game, I'll tell you how. Go to mercuryinsurance.com/Kings, mercuryinsurance.com/Kings. fill out an auto quote there, and then they'll say, hey, what game would you like to go to? And they'll send you Kings tickets, and you can transfer those to me. So if you guys want to do something for me for Hanukkah, you can do that. mercuryinsurance.com/kings. And then fill out an insurance quote. There's no obligation. You're giving them all your information in your firstborn. But anyway, if anyone feels like doing that, I would welcome that. It would make me so joyous. It would be the wonderful Hanukkah/Christmas present, and I could go to a Kings game. But anyway, I got free tickets for the Ducks game today. But it is in row M, and my broken toe and row M do not work well together. However, I do have a wheelchair now, which I got for $20. And the guest services at these places are fairly accommodating when it comes to, hey, I don't have one of the handicap tickets, but can I use one of the handicap spaces? They're supposed to try and accommodate you. We'll see what happens. At Random asked, is that a good idea, going to a sporting event right now? Yes, I'm going to be wearing a mask the whole time. We have not established community infection here in the United States so far. So far, no reason to change any of your plans. But yes, you should get tested. Now, at the Ducks game, you have to be vaccinated to go in. That's good point number one. And they do test. They do look at your vaccine card and check it against your ID. When we went to Staples Center yesterday, they looked at the vaccine card. They looked at the name very carefully. The gentleman was like, okay, and Kevin Williams, let me see your ID. I showed him my ID. The name's matched. We're good. That being said, Kevin Williams is the 5th most common name in the United States. So, haha. And then they did the same with producer Jojo. So they check your vaccination rate. Or if you want to go see the Ducks, you can have a rapid test. And they do the rapid test for free right there in the parking lot, which is way cool. So I might just go get a rapid test today. Although I haven't really been anywhere more than 3 days ago. It would be a good idea. Oh my God. Can I tell you guys this? Producer Joanna was kind enough to invite me to a Thanksgiving dinner at a friend's house that was kind enough to invite us. But we were told it was going to be outside. It was not. It was inside. Could have easily been outside. It was lovely weather on Thursday. It was inside. And I don't know if producer Jojo lied to me about that, or if she just misunderstood, or the host was, I don't know. But anyway, then I was there, and there's the table. Where am I going to go? But everybody did have to be vaccinated to be at the dinner. They made sure of that, even the kids. Even the 5-year-old there at least had its first vaccine. So, knock on wood, I'm good. But I might go get a rapid test today just to be on the safe side. Marcy says, I had to use a transfer chair when I broke my foot because I have narrow doorways. Cost $120. Ugh, I'm sorry. I got lucky. I got lucky with this wheelchair. It had just been put up online. It was $20. I contacted them on OfferUp right away, and they said, come on down. And it was like 25 minutes away. It wasn't that far at all. But yeah, everybody had to be fully vaccinated. I'm not worried at all. But it was weird. Had I known that it was going to be an inside dinner, I would have said, you guys have fun. Thank you very much for the invitation. I will be staying at home for Thanksgiving. Thank you so much. Anyway, back to the idiocy.
Handle this endemic infection. Both of you, thank you very much, and have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, is that everything?
Coming up, the crime wave in California, of course, is continuing. Wait until you hear what happened this time. Rick Grinnell and Aaron.
Of course, it's continuing in California. My side is actually starting to hurt just about as much as my foot from doing this. So what I might do, you know what I do? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna find out why we should be outraged. We'll pull up Fucks and Friends from this morning. Oh, you know what? Maria Bartichero. There's so much to cover. What time is it? It's 10:42. Let me do this. I'm going to take my headphones off for a second while I pull up. We'll pull up Maria Bartichero, and we will see who she has on, and I'll make a decision at that point. We'll either watch her or we'll watch Fucks and Friends from this morning. And maybe we won't. It's not cooperating with me. Here we go. So close Hannity and go home. There we go. And we'll see who Maria has on this morning. There it is. Oh, right there, top pick. You guys keep chatting amongst yourselves, and I'll scan through this and see what we have. By the way, Spectrum sucks. By the way, Spectrum cable. They were supposed to put a router in here. The internet
global
that I have
vaccinations.
has
The
serious
United
issues. So
States
far
has
today,
already
it's behaving
donated
itself
more
very well.
vaccines to other countries than every other country combined.
It's talking, and I'm sorry. Let's see, who's this? Oh, is this a substitute for Maria? That might be a substitute. Who's this? Oh, no, that's Nancy Mace. Okay. She's a Republican, but I don't know how interesting she's going to be. Yeah, there is a sub. That's, what's his face? My Pillow. Who's this? Let's see who this is. This is, so we're, right now, this is Discount Maria. Jason, is that Jason Chaffetz? I think that's his name. Oh, we can watch picture in picture, though. I don't know who that is, so we'll jump ahead here. And, oh, he's still on. So this guy's on forever. Who is this guy? This is, this is Keith Kellogg. We know Keith Kellogg. He's a very right-wing general. Lieutenant general, sorry. This is now, we're talking about drugs at the border and anything else. Okay, caravans, immigration. And who, is that McCarthy? Let's see who this is. That is not McCarthy. Who's this? Get out of the way. GOP seeking to win control of Congress. Well, that's not going to be interesting at all. Okay, so no Maria. Let's find out what we're going to be outraged by very quickly today, and then we'll go from that. Obviously, crime. Obviously, Thanksgiving was canceled, so many bad things happened. Let's see. How do I go forward here? I can't use a touchscreen if it's not on my screen. Let's do. Do I have to go down more? Shows, movies, sports, news. We'll hit news. There we go. See if something happens. Show me Fox and Friends. Okay, America Reports, Sunday Show, NBC. Oh, for goodness sake, do I have to look it up? Here we go. Let me do the search bar. It's not letting me do the search bar. What if I do this? There. Now, get rid of that. Fox and Friends. Here we go. Fox and Friends, but we need Fox and Friends Sunday or something, whatever they call it. Okay, hold on, guys. You guys talk amongst yourselves. We'll go to the library and we'll find it that way. But I do need to know what we're outraged by. That's the important part. New in your library. It'll be there. Okay, mornings. It's before that. Fox and Friends. And do we have one from today? No, that's from 2 days ago. This is not the weekend Fox and Friends. I want to see Fox and Friends weekend. Fox and Friends. Do we not? Most watched? No. Okay, this format's all screwed up. Was there no Fox and Friends this morning? Oh, there's football today. That's nice. Recordings and purchases. There we go. This week with George, Face the Nation. We're going to get there. Meet the Press. It's before that. Velshi, News Night, Fox and Friends Sunday. We found it. Oh, Last Week Tonight. Is there a new Last Week Tonight? That's awesome. That's got to be a repeat, though, because they don't do Last Week Tonight in the morning on Sundays. Recorded 7 hours ago. Let's find out what we should be outraged by today, kids. I'll put my headphones on. It's coming. It's coming. Anyway, Spectrum, like a week and a half, they were supposed to send me a new box. And nothing yet. Okay, and legal, and the kids in the school. And let me put my headphones on. This is all lovely. That's kind of cool.
Of being a
okay,
Texas
now we're going to find out what we should be outraged by. Oh, good. It's Rachel's Campus Duffy. She's one of the dumbest ones. So, no offense, Rachel, but you're an idiot. The beautiful thing about Rachel is she's like Stephen Miller. Not only is she stupid, but she's righteously indignant about her stupidity. Okay, let's go.
A separatist at times. As every single one of your pictures scrolled, just quite honestly, random, beautiful, but somewhat
beautiful.
Unidentifiable, could be generic photos of a barn in a field. That's Wisconsin. Oh, no, that one's Wisconsin. A set of hay bales, a lake.
Everyone.
That's Wisconsin.
Thank you, Wisconsin, for sending in all of your photos. It was the Wisconsin Star Spangled Banner moment.
I had to point out all the other states that also have cornfields.
Yes, correct.
Nebraska.
Barns.
And lakes. No lakes are nicer than Wisconsin.
Ohio.
Sorry.
Pennsylvania.
The dog on the boat, I have a photo of Skippy that looked just like that with the flag.
Even the one with mountains. She's like, that could be Wisconsin. I'm like, there aren't any mountains in Wisconsin. No way.
Wisconsin's so
Total
pretty,
homer.
and your photos were so beautiful.
They are really
I
good.
assumed it was all Wisconsin. So
You've won her heart.
You have.
And ours.
They're
We
amazing.
love this
They're
tradition.
amazing.
Keep the photos coming in.
yeah, please keep them coming. It's the favorite part of our morning. So do it.
Awesome.
All right, so set the panic meter to 10.
Here we go, folks.
He says sarcastically, because we start with a
Oh, he was sarcastic. Oh.
new COVID-19 variant, Omicron, sparking concern as it spreads across Europe.
That's right. Countries around the globe taking action to stop the spread.
Alexandria Hoff is live in Washington, D.C. with more. Alexandria.
Well, good morning. Yeah, this variant seems to be proving to have a lot of variation from the COVID-19 cases that researchers had become accustomed to. The South African doctor, who is actually the one who first reported this COVID-19 variant, this new one, tells the Telegraph that patients that she has seen have not lost their sense of taste or smell and have been able to recover at home while feeling extremely tired, with some other unusual.
That's good news. Good news so far, but we don't know long-term what this is.
side effects.
This could end up being a very, very good variant for the world, believe it or not. If it just keeps you at home and makes you a little tired and people don't die from it en masse, it could build our immunity towards other variants of COVID. It could be a blessing. We don't know. But it could also wipe out major portions of the population. So that's why we need to proceed cautiously.
Trickled in there. She does worry, though, that older unvaccinated individuals will be hit harder by this. Meanwhile, infections are spreading, reaching Europe and Australia. President Biden's travel ban to and from South Africa and 7 neighboring nations will begin tomorrow. It excludes America.
Useless. Sorry, not useless, but not effective.
American citizens who need to return home.
Issue of blocking travel from a given country.
So they're talking about travel from Southern Africa, and they're showing pictures of Southwest.
Is to just give us time to assess it better. That's the reason for doing that. Not any reason to panic, but we want to give us some time to really fill in the blanks of what we don't know right now.
All right, so while the Omicron variant has yet to be officially detected in the United States, researchers believe that its heightened ability to enter human cells means that the variant is likely already here.
You know, I would not be surprised if it is. We have not.
It is
not detected it.
I would be surprised. I would be shocked if it's not already here
yet. But when you have a virus that is showing this degree of transmissibility, and you're already having travel-related.
Do you guys want to watch My Pillow? Is that what's happening in the chat room?
Cases that they've noted in Israel and Belgium and in other places. When you have a virus like this, it almost invariably is ultimately going to go essentially all over.
Now, Israel has taken the additional step of shutting down their borders to outsiders completely. That'll take place for 2 weeks. They've also resumed this cell phone.
Not ow, Israel, ow, my foot. I just moved my foot.
Moderating plan that they have, monitoring plan that is, to monitor the cell phones of people confirmed to be carrying this variant. Well, Rachel Pete.
Thank you, Alexandria.
Thank you, Alexandra.
So monitoring cell phones, shutting down borders, shutting down travel, set the panic meters to 10. Now, we'll find out. As you mentioned yesterday, we don't know a lot about Omicron just yet.
That's not panic. That's prudent action. That's how Israel has done a much, much better job than the United States at mitigating these viruses.
But I did some reading just as it was.
Okay, you guys can watch My Pillow on your own. I can't even, I'm already done. So let's my foot's, you can't see it, but my foot is up in the air right now because the blood flow needs to stop.
Yesterday. And I noticed this one paragraph in a FoxNews.com article I just want to share with everybody because I think it's important as we shut down our life. This is from...
We're not shutting anything down. We're not. Nothing in the United States has been shut down. Because they're limiting travel out of South Africa doesn't mean your life has been shut down, Fox News guy.
A board member of the South African Medical Association, when they're talking about Omicron, said it's important. This is a very unusual virus. The symptoms are very mild.
Yeah.
It lasts for a couple days and accompanies a few aches and pains, and then no real cough, and then the patients recover.
That would be awesome.
No hospitalizations, no death. So set
I have a broken foot, Deidre.
the panic meters to 10 over something, for what we know right now, is very mild.
It's interesting because
we don't know. We'll know in about a week, okay? So we're not setting any panic meters anywhere. We're not panicking. We're trying to take prudent action. You know, exactly what your president did, but too late and not enough of.
the name of this variant is kind of scary, right? Omicron. But
Oh, okay. So that's it. Yeah.
the symptoms, as you say, are mild. And remember, coronavirus, if you're under the age of 50, 60, it's still a 99% recovery rate from it. And there are early treatments for it.
I am not under the age of 50. So.
And if you have the vaccine, the researchers and the people in the medical field have said it will probably protect you. Israel shut its borders down. But again, that's probably one of the most highly vaccinated countries in the world. So I guess.
Right. Smart people live there.
The government needs to explain a couple things to me, given what you just
No one can explain anything to you, dear.
said. One, if it is an emergency, why are we delaying implementation? Because there's
why
a
are we waiting
holiday
until Monday?
Because we have to get through the holiday weekend.
To avoid causing panic. That's why they do that. It's stupid. I think when they shut down travel, that's it, we're done. Because there's a mad rush. But they're like, oh, if we shut down immediately, there'll be a mad rush. There can't be. Shut down travel immediately, except for U.S. citizens. Problem solved. But no, they don't do that. Trump didn't do it. He announced it on the 31st. It didn't take place until February 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Biden is giving it until tomorrow. There's no reason to do that.
And the travel weekend. So that was weird. You brought that up yesterday. 2, why is the southern border still open? And 3, why is Joe Biden?
The southern border hasn't been open. She's just, she's everything the right wing is, bundled up in a blue dress.
And not wearing a mask because this is an emergency.
That's true. So you mentioned panic meter to 10, Will. It's true. And I was
It's not
going to point out that very same quote, unusual but mild, right? But yet the playbook remains the same, whether the panic level should be high or low. So it's travel bans. We're seeing them again. We're seeing 15. It was 15 days to slow the spread. Now we're locking down. It's mask.
Is anyone locking down? Did I miss something? Are we locking down? Does anybody know anything about locking down? Because I have not seen anything single lockdown mentioned from any government in the United States. Am I wrong? Is Massachusetts locking down? What's going on, guys?
Mandates for some, school closures and kids.
Oh, I got a story about cryptocurrency. So at the Kings game yesterday, you know how they show people in the crowd and they're dancing and drinking their beer and everybody cheers when they drink their beer, or they have to kiss cam and people kiss and then everybody cheers. So there's one guy and he's kind of dancing, standing up dancing during one of the songs, and he gets on screen and everyone's like, yay, he's got a beer in his hand. And it was, yay, and he toasts the crowd with his beer, yay. And then he turns around and he's like, hey, check out my shirt, right? On the back of his shirt, it says crypto.com. And then he turns back to the front and then he turns around again because it's still on camera. It's like, hey guys, crypto.com. So obviously this is some douchebag involved in crypto.com in some way. And the crowd starts booing him, which is awesome. It's like, dude, this is not an advertising format. This is not your platform for your stupid crypto company that none of us understand and we know isn't going to end well. It was good. In lockdown, but I've hardly left home. So, yeah, not in lockdown. Anyway, it was awesome. It was the moment of the game.
I mean, it's all there, yet we always ignore the things that.
Wait, hold on. Jojo, are you listening in your ears? Oh, okay. Guys, I wish you could see JoJo right now. She's wandering around. She's got like a rag in one hand and some cleaning solution in the other. And I don't know, that's got nothing to do with anything. She's cleaning up basically, and I'm literally lying on the couch. Get that done, woman. By the way, I'm out of coffee. Let's see if she clues into that. Oh my God, she just grabbed my coffee mug. I don't want another cup, thank you. Let's see if she gets the hint that I want my cereal now. Moving on.
The things where Fauci is not talking about is holding China accountable, it's therapeutics, it's natural immunity, it's all the... I remember when this all
They are talking about therapeutics.
started, and we had a doctor on, and it struck me.
She picked up the stainless steel coffee mug. I suspected she was just going to throw it at me at that point, but she didn't. She took it away. Luckily, there's an open house today, so she's got to clean up. So she's really more about the cleaning up. Wait, oh my God. Oh, she's the best. Look at this. She brought me a 50-cent, this is from Grocery Outlet. Oats to go, triple berry almond. So it's like a weird fruit thing that you mix the granola from the top into it. So she's awesome. Thank you. I was only kidding about getting my cereal, but I'm not gonna refuse this at all. She's been great. Okay, let's go back to the Fox and Friends.
It was almost 2 years ago now. He said, not until we have a vaccine are we on our way out of this. And I thought, man, that's a long ways off. Well, who helped deliver the vaccine? Donald Trump. They never want to talk about that at all. But they are going back.
President Biden gave Trump credit, has given him credit multiple times for Operation Warp Speed. Within a minute of getting vaccinated, he said the administration deserves credit for Operation Warp Speed. That's not an issue.
To the old playbook, one of which is masks. Well, unless you're in Nantucket. And so this is the guy who wears a mask outside and then pulls it down to yell at the press when he's really up close to them. Spotted inside a shopping in Nantucket somewhere. I can barely see that. Hope you can too. But they had to. You could see his face is right next to the picture of the mask, but he's got his pulled down.
Unmasked, put his mask back up for pictures, coughed into his hands, shook hands.
Yes.
And he just joins a long list of Democrats who behaved this way through the COVID-19 restrictions. You remember San Francisco Mayor London.
So yeah, he should not have taken his mask down. But I don't know. Is he eating in there? Is he trying to have somebody understand him? Is there a deaf person he's trying to get them to read his lips? I don't know. But yeah, we should all do a better job with our masks.
Breed, who was feeling the music, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Austin Mayor Steve Adler with his spring break trips, California Governor...
As opposed to a long list of Republicans who are refusing to wear a mask at all and won't get vaccinated. But okay.
Gavin Newsom, the French Laundry restaurant, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi got her hair did, Denver Mayor Michael...
Hold on, JoJo's yelling something. What? Ted Cruz? Yeah.
Hancock, Lori Lightfoot, Rashida Tlaib, Chuck Schumer, and on and on. If our panic meter should be at 10, why do they act like they shouldn't?
I'm going to come out in defense of the president a little bit, because when he walked out of that Nantucket shop without the mask, he was carrying a milkshake, apparently drinking it. And as you know from your travels.
There you go. There you go. And by the way, I take back everything I've ever said about Rachel Campos Duffy Campo. She's defending the president here. Oh my God. So she's not, I don't know that she's actually biased one way or the other. She's just not bright. But in this case, maybe she's just in that bubble. She's capable of thought. She's capable of learning. She's capable of walking the fence. But she's in that bubble where all she's doing is getting fed misinformation. So maybe she's okay. Tell you what, Rachel, come hang out here. We'll have a discussion. We'll sit outside. I'll wear a mask if you want me to, but we'll have some milkshakes. We'll meet in Pittsburgh. I know you're in New York. We'll meet in Pittsburgh. I'll get a half-price Jake Shake at the Pittsburgh Milkshake Factory. It's got to be a day after Jake Getzel scores. And we'll have milkshakes together in Pittsburgh. And we'll straighten you out. We'll get you out of your bubble. So, guys, I take back everything I've ever said about her. Here we go.
well, that the virus is very smart. And when you are snacking and drinking, it doesn't know. When you're walking from the door of a restaurant to sit down, COVID is very, very, very strong. And then when you sit down to eat, it stops. It's spreading.
It's a weird.
Yeah, that is, we all get that. We all get that, and I don't get it, and we all get that. But yeah, she was, but it does explain why Biden was not violating the rules at that point. He was drinking a milkshake, and probably in between putting it back up like that. Eve says, hey, in California, the state said that the mask issue was not them. So if one cannot wear a mask, then they say it's not us. Liability on your job changed. So what to do if damage caused by mask? I don't know. Yeah, she is being sarcastic. So I put back into play all the stuff I've ever said about her.
It's really, it's a very sophisticated virus. And if you're a sophisticated person and you actually vacation in.
Yeah. So I'm still on for the milkshake, though. If it's half price, it's worth the trip to Pittsburgh. Because you can get there on Southwest for $8 to Pittsburgh. No, I'm lying. Spirit. I was setting up a joke there, but now it's ruined. Here we go.
Nantucket and $30 million homes. It really is very sophisticated.
Well, it's, we can't fully appreciate the complexities of this virus. It takes holidays off, as you pointed out.
Yes, it does. Like Thanksgiving.
It's
racist.
Very little vertical leap, as you know, Pete. It can't hop a poly plastic divider.
I'm still spraying my Amazon packages.
Yeah, by the way, that's the one that's forgotten in all this. In all of the wrongness that our experts have offered us over the past 2 years, that's the one that just gets lost. Remember people were wiping down their groceries because it supposedly lived on surfaces, which, by the way, it doesn't.
It does. It's just not a contagion that way very strongly. It possibly is, but it's highly unlikely that it is. But that's before we knew it was absolutely respiratory. Okay? So go ahead and wipe down your groceries if you want to. By the way, great idea. Nothing wrong with that. But no, the experts were not wrong about that. This was a supposition at the time. They never said we have hard evidence that it's spreading by groceries. It's just this is a prudent action to prevent the virus from spreading, if in fact that's one of the ways it spread. What we do know is there's 700,000 dead Americans. So let's do whatever we can to try and stop that.
You know what? In the beginning, this is the whole point of this conversation. In the beginning, we didn't know, and we did a lot of stupid stuff. But now we know better. And my question is, where is...
We know that masks are effective, but go on.
Dr. Fauci, I think it's time for him to go.
He's saying the same things.
Yes, it's time for him to go.
He's saying the same things.
He's going to run this franchise out with 12 seats.
Dr. Fauci says it's not necessary to wipe down your groceries. So he's not saying the same things.
Holy cow.
His watch stopped when the virus first hit, and he stopped changing and adjusting. And maybe he's just too old. You know, they say some.
Okay, for a year you've been attacking Dr. Fauci because he changed what he said about masks. He didn't say what he said, by the way, but he didn't change what he said. He was saying all along, at this time, it doesn't look like we need them. They may not be effective. And then after we knew that they were, he said, yes, you should have masks.
Some people get so old they can't.
You're stuck in your ways.
You're stuck in your ways. Maybe he's just too stuck in his ways. We need somebody who can keep up with the science.
Well, I think it's great that Joe Biden's not wearing a mask in Nantucket.
Me too.
I don't think anybody should have to wear a mask inside.
Agree.
The point of that list you laid out, Will, is just the sheer double standard. There's no Republicans on the list because they're not saying you should have to wear a mask inside. You should have the choice. Either way, when you yell about it from the rooftop, then you better comply yourself.
Better to wear a mask than not wear a mask. Better to wear a mask sometimes than not wear a mask at all. But let's not criticize the people saying don't wear masks.
And they don't.
Well, another sign of the hypocrisy on the left is what we saw in Waukesha, and the fact that so many.
In what way? This is going to be interesting.
Many people were injured and killed because of their war on, I guess, bail reform is what they want, and it ended up killing some people unnecessarily at a beautiful Christmas.
But there's no war on bail reform in Wisconsin.
Christmas parade that ended tragically. Last night, Judge Pirro had the uncle of one of the girls. Her name is Jocelyn Torres. She was 11 years old, and she was injured at the parade. Here's what he said. That
injured or killed?
He had to see. It's pretty horrific.
She was 11 years old, and she was injured. If she was 11-year-old, she would be passed on. I hope that's not the case.
My daughters, what they seen was indescribable. It was what you hear from veterans. There was bodies everywhere. There was clothes abandoned, chairs, everything. Everybody was screaming. I seen Jesselyn's older siblings first, and then I asked where the baby was, and nobody knew where she was, her 2-year-old sister. So then I looked over, and then I seen my sister over Jesselyn on the grounds. I approached her, and what I seen terrified me, and I lost it for a couple of seconds, and then I heard my kids scream after they had seen her, and I just tried to get them away from her as quick as possible.
It's terrible.
My heart breaks for this guy. I don't know. I can't discern from what he's saying as if he lost the baby or not. I still don't know whether the 11-year-old is okay or not. We could go back and watch that. I don't want to do that.
Horrific. Yeah, and it was 1 week ago, and they're going to mark it today at 4:39 Central Time. They'll be marked the 1 week since that parade.
With Jesselyn Torres, 11, remains in the hospital. Okay, but I don't know what they're saying about the baby.
Attack. And it was totally preventable. That's the sad and tragic part of it. But Daryl Brooks.
I feel like going back and grabbing a bunch of Trump saying over and over again, bragging about his second chance, getting people out of prison, putting the criminals back on the street. That's with all the people who've actually been convicted by a jury of their peers. Trump bragged about that, or perhaps pled guilty. Trump bragged about that over and over and over again. And yet these people are complaining that this guy was out on bail, which is part of the American justice system because we're all innocent until proven guilty, had served his time for his other crimes. Should this guy have been on the streets? Of course not. Absolutely not. I'm all for a harsher justice system once you're actually proven guilty. And if it's highly likely that you're the guilty party in a given case, $1,000 bail is nothing because you don't have to come up with $1,000. That's the way bail bonds work. You come up with a small fraction of that, and then the bail bonds people put up the rest. That being said, it discriminates against poor people to keep innocent people in jail just because they can't come up with the cash. There's no good answer here. But you cannot be outraged by people out on bail. Innocent. Again, innocent until proven guilty. Innocent people out on bail when you've got President Trump releasing thousands of prisoners. Convicted prisoners.
Was sentenced, or
this is one insane maniac who did something absolutely terrible. It's a career criminal, but we can't operate an entire country that way because one person did something.
At least they read out the charges against him in the courtroom. He reacted one way. Here's Ryan Cohnke again, that uncle, reacting to the sentence that came out, or the charges.
Hearing everything that he had, when they read out all of the charges that he had prior to what he did on Sunday, it made me sick to my stomach. And then to hear him start crying when the judge mentioned that these carried a life sentence, to me it was selfish that he did that he was worried about himself. But yep. I hope that he spends the rest of his life in jail, in isolation, because I don't think he'll ever see general population because they're afraid of what they might think will happen to him, honestly. So I hope that he has a lot of time to sit in there and think about how he negatively impacted all these people's lives in this community for the rest of his life.
I hope he goes to jail forever. Yeah, no, I'm totally with the uncle on this.
Life.
Yeah, he described that scene as, bodies laying everywhere. And he was not just worried about obviously his niece, who was very severely injured, and we're praying for her, but also all the children that saw all this. I mean, the PTSD that they're going to have from seeing this. And again, he said that this man, Darrell Brooks, cried for himself when he heard his charges, and they were deeply offended that that's the level of selfishness. And I think Judge Jeanine Pirro on her show last night, she talked about the victims and not about the perpetrators, which seems to be what the Democrats are more concerned about with their war on, I guess, their war on bail reform.
Yeah, this story's already been memory holed because it doesn't fit the narrative, the quote-unquote
memory hold
narrative of whatever racial prism they want to pour this through. In truth, there is a
racial prism. Why would you pour something through a prism? You would view something through a prism, but you don't pour things through a prism.
Racial element to this story because
I hope he spends the rest of his life in prison.
He was a black nationalist. He had stuff on his page. He had espoused some really atrocious views, and then he goes and mows down more than 40 people.
Did he do that because they were white? Because they were victims of a bunch of races, were there not?
Half a dozen are dead, and the story is about this man and bail reform, but it's already been memory holed because it doesn't fit the story that most want to tell.
This was an attack on whites? Is that the story that you're telling? Because I've been watching the right wing, and that's not the story. That's one or two of them. I mean, like a Charlie Kirk has talked about it, but he's a complete moron. I've yet to see an actual reputable right-wing media outlet. Okay, I get that that's an oxymoron, but I've yet to see them cover this as an attack on white people.
It's true. Coming up a little bit later in this show.
But Pete says it's true, so there you go.
We're going to speak to an owner of a restaurant in Waukesha who's donating proceeds from the restaurant to families impacted.
That's good. Now, there hasn't been a lot of coverage because there's other news going on, and right now, this is not news. Once the trial starts with this gentleman, if there is a trial, it will be covered. Was this covered when it first happened? Yes, of course. This was covered extensively by all of the media. This is a terrible story. And of course, my heart goes out to all of the victims. But is this being memory hold? I'm not even sure what that term means. So I'm going to say maybe, because I don't know. Oh, speaking of being memory hold, I better get up and get a hold of this day. How about that for a segue? Speaking of segues, I'm going to get on my scooter and seize this day. Marcy says video, vidibam. Video, vidibo, vidibam. Okay, I came, I saw, I watched. Okay, cool. This isn't about race, it's about a criminal. He might be a black nationalist. That's okay. I mean, that's not okay. I was going to say, that's that. Okay, what have you got to say about that? We don't know that this was an attack on yeah, that's right, Stephanie. Carpe tunnel, metacarpal diem, metatarsal diem. I don't know. I'm done. I'm done. Right now, my arm and my neck and my leg and my back right here hurts. So this is not a great position for live streaming. But I woke up this morning and said, I'm going to live stream. And I did. So I feel good about that. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. If you're watching this delayed, thanks. Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down or something. And have yourself a great, safe day. We will hopefully see you soon, guys. Hopefully I'll be able to sit up and do this and get a better broadcast for you. So now you know what to panic about. I don't know why they're not covering the fact that there was a Thanksgiving, because all last week was about how there wasn't going to be a Thanksgiving because prices were just too high. And here we are now, 20 minutes into their broadcast, and no one has talked about Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving that actually happened. So I'm disappointed by all that. Stephanie's hubby got a tube down his infected eardrum. Well, you can be thankful for medical advances. Guys, be good to yourself, be good to others, and most importantly, specifically, producer Jojo, be good to me.